Hello, hello. Welcome to
Hello.
Hey, Nick.
Got here as quick as I could,
the
Eileen. Yeah, I made it just in time as the introduction was playing.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Great.
Good.
Awesome. Um, we are here with our special guest tonight. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, but Mr.
LaFave.
Dan.
Dan LaFave.
LaFave.
Okay.
There you go.
Say your last name.
You know those Northerners, they can't pronounce anything.
Not at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. Yep.
Yeah, because I know I'm going to butcher it. So, Dan, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing good. Glad to be here with you guys.
So, I understand that you own a very popular location.
Yeah, it's getting more and more popular too. Keeps us on our heels.
That is good. I personally am not familiar with the location. I've heard about it several times, but I don't really know any of the stories, none of its history. So,
Right.
fill
Well,
me in.
I'll fill you in. It's the circa 1886 Old Park Hotel that we own in Ballinger, Texas. And we've had the building for almost 6 years now. Next month will be 6 years. Hey, there's David.
What's up, David?
Love you, David.
Nothing like David to cheer us up.
David just became an old man. He had a birthday. So
Right.
he just became an old man.
But anyway, it's in Ballinger, Texas, and we've had it for almost 6 years now. Next month will be 6 years. And it's kind of weird. We did the paranormal for a long time. I've been in the paranormal for 30 years, doing a lot of different things. And to be honest with you, I never saw ourselves buying a building like this. I didn't foresee a historic building, much less a building with as much paranormal activity in it as what we have. Just reading his comments here.
Yeah.
I'm sharing this show out, so I'll be looking down for a little while.
Gotcha. But anyway, what happened was, give you a little bit about my prehistory first. Did the paranormal for 30 years. What got me going was something that happened to me 30 years ago in the military. I was Air Force security police working in top secret area. And we had the craziest thing happen to us one night, me and 3 other guys. And it's one of those places that you just wouldn't expect it to happen. And it happened. The deal was at the time, 30 years ago, the paranormal wasn't talked about the way that it is now. So we had no clue what we were dealing with at the time. And we were dealing with what looked like a very real situation going on, an emergency. And we're trying to handle the best that we could, but we were pretty freaked out about it. And since this was a top secret area, I kept this inside for a long time. Because anybody who's been in the military with clearances knows how that works. You don't really talk about it. And really, we're kind of told not to talk about it way back in the day. And finally, I've been out of the military a long time. So a friend of mine who was on Paranormal 911 did an episode. He's a law enforcement officer. Talked me into talking with the producers about the show and telling them my story. And make a long story short, within a week of me talking with the producers, they were flying me in to do my episode. That's how interested they were in doing it. And that particular episode, a lot of people have seen it on Paranormal 911. It's opened up season 2. And some things were on, some things were a little off, but you do the best you can when you give them all the information on recreation events. But they were pretty top notch on the story, and it was pretty crazy. And that really, when that happened, that's what got me going into the paranormal 30 years. And back then, it wasn't anything close to what it is now. Now we have shows like this where we're talking about it. There's TV shows where we're talking about it. We have internet where we're talking about it, social media, you name it. There's just a lot of discussion on it, so a lot more people are open to it. But back then, it was a different animal. And if you even mentioned the word paranormal, actually, it was called supernatural back in the day. If you even talked about it, people just looked at you funny.
You were in the
So this,
crazy house.
right? So this was a field that was very different back in the day. And I started off as a loner and did a lot of different haunted locations. One of the first ones I went to years and years and years ago was the Black Swan Inn in San Antonio. And I've known Joe for close to 30 years from the very first time I was there. And started off doing investigations out there and picking up on weird things. Started investigating all across Central Texas, San Antonio, you name it. That's where I'm from, by the way, is San Antonio. Which is funny because I'm, with my weird last name, my family's actually from Michigan. I'm like the only Texan out of my family, which is really strange. So you don't see this name down here very often. And that's why people, look at it and go, how the heck do you pronounce that? But it's French Canadian, the last name, and that's where it comes from originally. But I went on several paranormal teams back in the day. I was on about 5 of them. And one of the teams I was on was a TAPS, the Ghost Hunters show back in the day, TAPS family member team. And there were actually only 3 teams in Texas at the time. And was on one of them, was a manager on there. And my wife was on there too, but actually met my wife on the paranormal team before that, which was called After Dark. And my friend, who's the same law enforcement officer, introduced me to Connie. So we did theoretically meet through the paranormal back in the day, and came together in the days of MySpace.
Woo, we finished
man.
your age
Pretty
there, Dan.
funny. MySpace obviously was very prehistoric to what we're doing now with social media. But anyway, got to meet Connie, got to talk. We both went through disastrous marriages, had a lot in common because of what we had gone through. And here we are. We've been married for years now. And we've been doing the paranormal for years now. And we actually formed a team called Graveyard Ship Paranormal Investigations back in 2008. We moved down to deep South Texas. And we did investigations all the way up the U.S.-Mexico border. We investigated so many places down there. It's crazy. And the border's haunted like heck, by the way. There's just a lot of old places down there. And we did things with Telemundo, the news station Telemundo. And it's kind of funny when you go on investigations with TV crews because you can tell they're a little slightly skeptical, but when things happen, especially things fly out of their hands while they're filming in locations, they get really big eyes. But anyway, leading to the story of the old park, we ended up moving around. My wife was a high school teacher before me. I'm also a high school teacher, teach at 2 different high schools now. And we needed to go somewhere else because I was having a hard time finding a job down in deep South Texas. So we just kept talking and talking and talking, and we could have moved back to the major cities, but we decided to go back to my wife's hometown, which is San Angelo. That's where she's from. And she actually laughed at me at the time. She's like, "You really want to go back to my hometown?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You can't deal with the traffic. I need to find something a little different." And really, that's what opened up this story because even though I've been in the paranormal a long time, we've been doing the paranormal a long time, did a lot of cases all over Texas together under Graveyard Ship Paranormal Investigations. We came up here, we started breaking the ice, and we got together with Concho Valley Paranormal here, which is a local team, and we started to investigate some locations here in West Texas. We did Fort Concho, we did hotel here in San Angelo, which it's called the Cactus Hotel, but it was actually one of the first Hilton hotels back in the day. And it turned out we had the whole hotel pretty much shut down for that investigation, which is very interesting. And then one day in 2015, after doing several investigations all over, I came across this article around Halloween of 2015, and it really grabbed my attention. It was about this building in Ballinger, Texas, which was said to be very, very haunted, and it was said to be haunted by as many as 30 spirits. And make a long story short, it's a very long article. It grabbed my attention. Had a guy explaining his experience while he was walking in there. He was a college student at the time. He was looking for Western memorabilia. One day, he just stopped off because it was an antique store at the time. He knew nothing about ghosts in the building, knew nothing about its history. Went inside looking for Western stuff. They ended up sending him upstairs, and he starts getting followed. He explains his experience in the story, and he's just being followed from room to room to room upstairs, and it eventually takes shape in an apparition. Basically, he hears footsteps coming up to the door, and he said it took the shape of a man grinning at him, and it was just too much for him to take, and he took off. And as soon as he's coming down the stairs, they obviously had a look on his face, and they said, you saw them. And right away he looks back and he's like, what? And he's like, you saw one of our spirits. And he's like, I saw something. Don't know what it was. But he was pretty freaked out. And that got my attention on this story. And I couldn't wait to see this building. And basically called the owner, contacted the owner. But she blew us off. She blew me off like you won't believe, because everyone wanted to come see this building at the time. Halloween story, you can imagine all the attention. I explained to her who I was, what I'd done, but it just didn't really faze her because she didn't know me besides anybody else contacting her. But what ended up happening was I left her all my contact information, told her, you ever change your mind, contact us and we'll come up. And a month later, it was the end of November, it was like the worst day that you could come up and see a rumored to be haunted building. It was like misty, foggy, cold, rainy, pretty spooky. And we ended up driving up to see this building, had my mother along. We couldn't tell her what we were doing. We just told her we were coming up to look at antiques.
I'm done with him.
She was, what do you say this time?
I couldn't help it.
David's just going to town, isn't he? Tonight?
He's on fire tonight.
I think he misses me a little too much right now.
I was just talking with him earlier today.
I'm sorry.
That
so anyway,
but anyway, make a long story short, we came down the stairs after looking at this building, and I just felt it. It's strangest feeling walking in this building. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, but I felt like I was being followed the whole time. We came down the stairs after looking at the top story, and I was just mesmerized, I guess, by the fact it was such an old building, because that gets me excited just in itself, walking around a building this old. But the first thing she said was, what do you think? And we were like, it's really cool. Even though inside we were thinking at the time that it was cluttered. It was just antiques everywhere. It was very dusty. It was still cool looking. And the second thing she said, the building's for sale. And she gives me this look. And right away I turned around to Connie, because we're still kind of standing on the stairs. And Connie just looks back at me and goes, hell no.
Well, we know who won that argument.
She's like, we're not buying a building today. And I just had this look, and I knew it just wasn't possible, as good as it sounded. It's just not every day you have somebody say something like that to you. And she said she had just put it on the market, had a lot of people looking at it. And she's like, if you change your mind, you know where I am. Well, to make a long story short, the first offer she made us was for all the antiques in the building, everything that was in there. And there was just no way. I was just like, that ain't going to happen. So we ended up walking away. which was pretty hard to do. And then we hit a bad point in our lives. You kind of have ups and downs. And the bad part was we lost my mother like 3 months later. My wife lost her mother a month later, went in for a surgical procedure, which just went wrong. And then we ended up losing a brother-in-law who was in his 30s from the Army. And things like that blow you away. And the last thing on our mind was buying a building. That I had already forgotten all about it because of everything we were going through. Well, I ended up with an estate from my mom, ended up selling her house, ended up doing all these things, which was really, really hard, clearing it out, and had all this money in the bank. But at the same time, was almost like afraid to touch it. You would think, you would go out and start spending, but that's not the way it is when you lose a parent.
It kind of makes it more
Yeah.
realistic that it's
Yeah.
happening. Because it sits
Yeah.
there, it didn't happen.
It's
yet.
really, you just don't know what to do with it. It's just sitting in the account looking at you every day. Well, basically, we went a few months later, still not thinking about the hotel. And then Jeanette calls me one day. And she goes, that offer is still there. And she goes, they would like you to have the building. And at the time, I was like, what? Who's they? And she's like, all the residents here. And this is where it was a little spooky. She's like, they picked you. And she's like, I could have sold this building to other people, but I just didn't have the right feeling. She goes, I wanted to sell it to you guys because I like what you guys are thinking about doing. And here we are. We bought the building 6 years ago. And I'll be honest with you, after we bought it, we didn't know what the heck to do with it. We were like, oh, here we are. Here we are with the 10,000 square foot building back to the 1800s. It needs work. And then we invited friends in. And from day one, oh, here he goes again.
Thank you, David, for that. I think you're walking from the airport.
I love that. I love that part where it said 57 and a half.
David, what's bad about 57? I'm almost 55. Don't go there.
Look,
57. Wait. It's 57 and a half.
I'm just excited he thinks I'm 40. I'm excited he thinks I'm 40. So I'm good.
We are so reading David's obituary a week after he moved secretary.
By the way, David, we need you to finally come to the hotel and have the spirits take you away.
Well, he was supposed to go with me, my trip down there. And no, that's when he decided he was going to be moving up north and couldn't take off work.
He did it right at that moment. He was supposed to see the hotel and he wasn't there. That's his fault.
Come on, David.
Since we're kind of on talking about David right now, unfortunately.
I pick on him too.
I don't know if it's the same thing you've already been on, but he has been reaching out to people for someone else who is looking for someone with military backgrounds and stories in it. And if you
I actually sent a friend. There's
Okay.
a friend that's going to be on that show. Yeah. Had a really good story. I can't say what it is, but
Okay.
Oh,
I just
wow,
wanted
Bill.
to make sure to get it out there. And
Yeah.
wow, Bill, you are now my favorite person in the world.
Bill, because you know me, I'm just a few years older than that, so be careful.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do this. As soon as I get off here, I'm probably going to go to the hospital. So, but I wanted to tell my story because Dan's place was the first place that I have ever went and had a paranormal experience. That was the first place I was taken. So, yeah. And this, Dan, you didn't mention this.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about all that. Have a new one coming out too.
Oh, really? You got to give me the link.
Yeah.
So somebody took me there, my first team, and I done research for a month before we went. And killing Jim Miller, I found out he was there. And I did research for ever. I knew his last words he said. I knew what he said when he was hung. I knew his children's names. I knew his wife's name. I knew what happened when he stole money. Just the whole thing. They called him Deacon. So we got shadows. We got all kinds of things peeking through doors, and I've heard stories. And it was, and somebody that went with us. Would you stop, my child? We had been told different stories and saw a video of a girl who's not tiny. I mean, she wasn't like a little bitty girl. She was a grown woman. Got thrown out of her chair. I don't remember the story behind it, but she got thrown. So about 2 a.m, I had my daughter with me, and she had captured actually a figure of a girl, but we couldn't exactly put it out there as evidence because we had the energy ball there in the corner, and I couldn't tell if it was pareidolia. I couldn't tell if it really was a girl. So I did not put it out there as evidence. But we took the spirit box out there, and just me and one guy. And I started calling him out with everything I knew about him. And I heard a whistle, just like somebody calling their horse. And I'm like, did you hear that? And he says, no. Really, Bill? That's great.
That's not true.
We let him tell. It's his story. We'll let him tell it. But I ended up hearing it like 3 times. It was like circling me. And every time he said he didn't hear it. I'm like, why is he not hearing it? We replayed that video, and it actually happened 7 times. David, what the hell?
I didn't want to show that for too long.
Now, here's my question to interrupt. I'm still wondering, even if I did, how he would even know. Is he like spying on me?
Long show, David.
David, do me a favor. Let me finish this story, David, before you do anything else, because really, I gotta get off here. So when we played it back, it was 7 times, and you heard it clear as day. But the man with me did not hear it. I guess it was not meant for him. Well, I worked graveyards, and a week after I came home, I heard that whistle. I lived out in the country. No way that whistle should have been there. I was like, okay. I went back in the house, and for over a year, we had this little plaque on the bed. And it had a bottle opener, a spur, and a tiny cowboy hat. It's something you got at like Tractor Supply. That thing came off the bed that night. It hit my husband in the head, pierced his ear through to his head. I knew exactly who that was and why. Needless to say, I do not contact spirits that way anymore, to where I do research forever and ever, and I do not do that anymore. I've learned a lot of things since then, but that I will never forget. And even though I should be at the hospital right now and I'm going, but I had to come at least say that and pay respects to Dan. I couldn't just not be here.
Mm-hmm. It was a crazy experience, I remember.
It was. Yeah. So, guys, I'm sorry.
I hope you get feeling better.
Yeah, feel better.
You need to take care of yourself.
They're going to have to give me some serious something good, because this ain't working.
Can you pass it to me too? Just because.
All right, guys. I'll see y'all later.
Take care, Adrian. Take care of yourself.
Now, I will say this, Dan, out of, so much in the paranormal, you and Connie, I have never heard anyone say anything but great things about y'all. Y'all have the respect of the paranormal world. You run Old Park with respect and love, and people see that.
Yeah.
That is your baby, and that means a lot. You're not. I mean, you get so many people who get business who buy these haunted locations to make the money. To
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many people have been there, but if you're looking for a really reasonable location to go at and you can stay the night at,
Yeah.
I mean, that right there.
You bring up a good point, Elaine. When we got the building again, paranormal activity started happening from day one when we
Can you
were
get
in
that
there.
off the screen now?
Yeah, I'm just clicking it.
Paranormal stuff started happening from day one, and we had a lot of friends in there in the beginning, and everybody was just like, you guys need to find a way to share this place publicly, because they were like, this is crazy. And we were the same way at the time. We were like, that sounds like a great idea, but how do we do it? Had already shelled out a lot of money for this building, just buying it and buying furniture and various things and doing work in there. But in the beginning, we put a lot of thought into it. And I think it's finally come around, because the initial thought we had was from a paranormal investigator perspective, because we'd done so much of this before. We'd gone to locations, put out a lot of money, had to also pay for hotels while we were there, the travel expenses. We did things free on dollar on client cases for no telling how long. So we weren't about the money. It was about figuring out a way that we could share this publicly with people. And the idea we got was average teams are about 6 people. And we figured, around $50 per person. That was the idea. And, just the other day I was telling Connie, we've had it for almost 6 years. We've only gone up $75 in the cost in 6 years. And that's only because of taxes. Because we get nailed, on a lot of costs that a lot of people don't know about. The other thing is, people like us, I mean, we do make money on the building, but it all goes back into the building.
Right.
And it's not what you would think we would make on the building. It's just enough to keep the building going, to figure out, last year's winter freeze, we lost 7 pipes in the building. We had to repair all that. We've had electricity issues we had to repair. We've had a lot of different things, and that adds up, and we're just now getting to a lot of the restoration work that's going to be done outside. I'm getting ready to lift one of the columns and level it out. We're going to do a lot of concrete work, a lot of woodwork out in front. So all the money that comes into this place, guess what? Goes back into the place. We really don't make much at all. And we didn't buy the building to make profit. We bought the building because it's a cool experience. And it's not every day. Yeah, it's not every day, just ourselves, because people forget we're paranormal investigators too. We did this a long time. It's pretty cool for us to be in there every single day and experience the things that we are experiencing. Not everybody gets that experience 24/7. So 6 years later, it's just as exciting as it was when we first bought it. And it's coming around now. It's finally making the television rounds, and a lot of people are going to see a lot more of this building pretty soon, because there's a lot of stuff coming out.
Well, and you see, I know there's a location that, and I'm not going to say names or anything, but there is a location that was purchased by investigators, and the price of it just went astronomical. To where you really it's not a big enough place that you can have that many people to split it up, but they do that. People would come and do it, and it's great that y'all are trying to keep it for the people that yes, most people have 6 teams, but it's still very reasonable for people who don't have the 6 teams.
Yeah, well, even for large groups, that's where it gets even more reasonable. Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, yeah, and I mean, because if you're like, if anybody's team's like mine, well, like mine was when I was with David, boy, we didn't care. Scoot over. You got a twin size bed. You curl up on this end,
Yeah.
and I'll curl up on this end. We good.
Yep.
Air mattresses.
That's the way it is. You camp out sometimes.
I think the first time, yeah, because I mean, one of the locations right here that we stay the night at is the Old Southern Funeral Home in Kosciuszko.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my other favorite places to go. I sleep on pews like you would at church, like a church pew.
Right.
That's where we sleep on. I don't take an air mattress because the pews are comfortable, but your beds are much more comfortable.
See, when we bought the building, she took all the air conditioners out of the building. So you can imagine we had just bought this building in July. You know how hot July is in Texas. And like I say, we're coming up to our anniversary, so it always reminds us. But, we have to do all this work in there with like no air conditioner in the beginning. I think we had one. And you'd work for about an hour in the building dying, and then you'd run to that one lone room where the air conditioner was and try to cool yourself off so you could do some more work. That's the way it was. But, you've seen the way it is now. We have all the rooms outfitted with air conditioners, and you got running water to take showers. Right now, I'll just say it. I'm running $600 a month utility bills in that building just for electricity. And that's like 2 bookings right there just to pay electricity. And then we have the water. Not too long ago, we lost water pipe again this past winter. And it ran down the street like you won't believe, and end up with a huge water bill, which we had to take care of. The water company didn't really work with us.
Block, David. I love him.
He's really going after you tonight.
He's on fire.
If anyone does not know David Childers, that is my brother. So,
Be careful what you say, Eileen, because I kind of already get the idea of what he's probably going to say next.
He's on the attack tonight.
I think I heard Dan say that David's banned from Old Park. I heard that. Okay.
I'm just going to let the spirits take him when he comes. I'll just point and say, y'all go to it.
Well, one thing I love about your location, I mean, great, I do love the building, but I know recently y'all have kind of made a deal with, what is it, the jail? Am I correct? Is it
yes. Yeah, that's another. I'm glad you brought that up. That's another project we've been working on for about 3 years. When we first got the building, the jail sits right across the street, 1925 Old Reynolds Jail. Very creepy looking building, but it's even creepier when you walk inside. It's like a maze of cells inside, and you just can't even imagine that from outside. And Bonnie Parker was held there, back in the day, which is pretty cool. She was born just down the road. But what we ended up doing was people, been asking us for a long time, how do we get in that building? And it's not an easy process. You have to go through a lot of long processes. And we used to do that back in the day all throughout Texas, because we used to raise money for old buildings going back several years. We raised thousands of dollars. And that's what we got the idea to do with the jail, just like we do with the hotel. We had to figure out a way to, because it's county owned, we had to figure out a way to get the county in a position where they will feel okay with letting people in the jail, first of all. So we had to get to that point, which took a while. Then there's also a trust factor. You have groups going in, and they worry about the types of people that are going to be in there. So that's a very fragile thing right now. We we started off doing fundraising events to get a lot of money going towards them. And just now I organized, talked with the judge directly, and we came down to an agreement, which they're okay with, and we're okay with, and groups are okay with, for $250 donation. So basically, people can get our building, which again is very cheap for what you're getting, at $325. We have no limit on group members that can come in. You know, we have big groups, we have small groups. It just depends. So you're getting all that in our building, and then for an additional $250 cash donation, you can investigate the jail for several hours. We just had the first paranormal group do it this past weekend, and they got phenomenal evidence while they were in there doing it exclusively for the first time. And it's crazy. It really is. I think they investigated it for about 6 or 7 hours into the night. And they got a lot of good stuff. And I think we closed it down around 1 a.m. and they were ready to close at that point. They were ready to go back to the hotel and do a bunch of stuff at the old park. And they got a lot more stuff happening at the old park. And we think the paranormal activity, honestly, we think it is linked between the jail and the old park, because when you're inside the jail looking out the cell windows, the only thing you can really see is the old park. And being a brothel back in the days, you can imagine that must have drove them nuts.
Yeah.
The women were out on those balconies, and you can clearly see our balcony from inside that jail.
See, now what I liked to do when I was there, I had lunch actually in the gazebo in the courtyard in front. And just sitting there, because for anybody who's never been there, this isn't a big town.
No.
And I mean, perfect. You can see, I mean, you got some big houses around it, but just sitting in that courtyard and taking everything in. I mean, it's beautiful, and you can feel everything. I know that when we were kind of taking a break, we took I believe the SLS. And kind of was before you had the jail, we kind of was trying to go into the jail, you know, because you could feel stuff from the jail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's intense.
And people probably got arrested at the place. Not just the other way around.
People, including us, have seen inmates looking out the windows, and we see very strange things at times. One time we had a police officer come in, because we saw two people there goes Connie in the background. That's not a ghost. But anyway, we had a group there that night, and we were keeping an eagle's eye on the jail. And two group members came running to me like at 1 a.m. and said, there are two people walking around inside the jail with like what looks like a big flashlight or a lantern. So I ran. He's just having fun. So I ran basically out the door, and I went back into my security police mode. People don't realize how security police are. I could put on a whole different face. So I used to carry an M16 every single day. But I went basically barking at that jail as loud as you could with the police on my phone at the same time, because they all know me in town. And I was telling the police to get over there. And I basically had two of the group members stage at different corners around the building to make sure that these people didn't escape, from inside the building. And as we were walking up to the window, I could clearly see, with the witness behind me, two people walking around inside on the first floor. And one of them looked like they were carrying a lantern or something. It was really bright. And one was taller than the other, but again, they were like shadow figures. I couldn't see features on them. But I remember when we got to the window, the shorter one pointed at the window, and the big one turns and looks as I'm shouting in the window, and they go tearing off, and you could actually hear their footsteps on the steel steps running up the stairs. So anyway, while we're watching all this, we got the whole building cordoned off. The police officer is coming. We can see his lights. He's coming around the corner. And I know all the police officers in Ballinger, so I knew who he was. And as soon as he pulls up, he goes, "Where are they?" And I said, "They're in there." I said, "I'll lift open." They had one window that was kind of loose, and we figured that's probably where these people got in. I said, "I can lift up this window, and I'll hold up the window, and you can go in and get them." So I'm standing at the window holding it. He goes inside, and we're watching him. He's just running all throughout this building with this flashlight, searching every area of this jail. There wasn't anybody in that building. And he comes out with the biggest eyes, because he said when he went in, he could just feel it. It was like so intense. And he was expecting to pounce on somebody at any moment. And either they were good hiders or they were ghosts. I really don't know, but that kind of opened up that avenue. And that was probably like 2 years ago or a year ago. And like I said, this paranormal team was the first one to go in. We have other paranormal teams that booked it already, jumped on the opportunity. Because I've only had this opportunity going like a week now, that paranormal groups can actually do both. And I feel like a lot more is going to come, because it really, I think investigating these two buildings at the same time is going to pull a lot of evidence.
No, what is, because it's and I'm sorry guys, y'all cut me off if y'all want to ask questions, but because it's such a small town, how did the town react with when y'all started opening this up to the public?
Kind of mixed feelings, but it helps when your best friend is the judge. I mean, I guess you could say, we have connections in the right place, and she is very open to the paranormal. Matter of fact, she took us into the courthouse one time because there's paranormal activity going on in the courthouse. It's haunted as well. And she had us go up there one evening, me and Connie and her, and we had a bunch of stuff happen. So, it helps that she is open to the paranormal, which helps open up doors. She just got reelected, so she's in the office for another 3 years. And we were actually helping to get her reelected. We had her signs up in front of the hotel and everything. She's really cool, by the way. Her last name is Miller, and her great uncle or something, somewhere in the line of her family, was Billy Miller. And he's the one that built the restaurant building next door to us.
Oh, the
And
Mexican.
he built several buildings in Ballinger. So he was like the architect, one of the original founders of Ballinger. So her family goes way back. So that helps as well. And they used to live in a big rock mansion that's up on the hill. Don't anymore. But that mansion kind of overlooks the whole town from the hill. She lives in a ranch right outside of town. But I think, like I said, the town had mixed feelings, but the idea is to do the same thing what we're doing with the old park. They want to turn it into a museum, the jail. So they're going to bring in a lot of stuff and fix things in the jail along the way, the same way we've done with the old park. So all these donations, the 250 donations, Ghost Hunter, Flamery Promotions that just did the event, they just donated $500 to the jail because we had the jail included on that event. So, every time we do events, these other people come do events. Now the paranormal teams are coming in. They can give their cash donation, which again, that's cheap. $250 for like 7 hours. And then you get our hotel
That's
for
a real good
$325.
price.
Yeah. And then you have our hotel for the rest of the night at $325. I mean, that's like $575 for 2 buildings. And we have air conditioning, running water. So you don't have to go stay at another hotel. You just sleep in our rooms, and that's even better. Eileen, you know what it's like sleeping in those rooms. It's spooky. And yeah, I mean, things are happening to people all the time when they go to bed after they've been
And you don't want to stop and that's the good thing. You really don't have to stop investigating either.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in one big group, because if you can't sleep, you hear something, it's okay to get up and walk around.
Yeah.
And see what's going on.
And that's the other thing that's real cool about us. I know there are some locations, I'm not going to name them, but there's some locations that might allow you to go into the location, but you don't get the whole building. And sometimes you don't get to do everything you want to do. Yeah. Some buildings are restrictive on paranormal evidence. Some buildings are restrictive on pictures or videos. We don't have those restrictions. We let everybody do what they want to do. We let everybody set up their cameras the way they want to set them up. Mm-hmm. We have to be there for a reason. That's the reason why we have the room downstairs. It's because I used to have people leave in the middle of the night and leave our building unlocked. And in the beginning, when that started happening, I was like, we got to be here. I said, we got to be here for that reason, because they're going to leave our building unsecure. We got to be there, basically be a host, and also in case there's issues, to help them. But I'm sorry, what? Oh, yeah, we got to be there also because of candles. In the beginning, we have people lighting candles in our building, and that's a big no-no with us. It's not that we're against candles. It's just that an 1800s building, fire, no.
Yeah, because a lot of those buildings are usually made out of wood.
And it's not that we're against smokers. You know, we have a lot of people that smoke. We allow it on the balcony. We allow it in front, but not in the building.
Get the room. Get the twin size bedroom.
Right. And the other reason we don't allow the smoking, which really goes in a paranormal sense, is because it creates the smells. And if you're outside the building smoking, I don't know if you smelled it when you were there, but we get cigar smells in there. We get pipe smells.
Yeah.
We also get cigarette smells that pop up.
Fire
and when people aren't smoking, you know, where's this coming from? And you know, it goes hand in hand. Everybody understands why we do it. We do things for various reasons, and I think this new era that we're entering into now with the jail, with the TV shows coming, because we got a few coming. I can't even say what they are yet, but we got others coming besides Deathwalker. It's going to enter into a new era, and I think people are going to see a lot more. Because I mean, we've been on Fright Club before, but that really didn't depict, you know, what's in the building. Because just like, you know, Eileen, people that have been there, you know what it's like. You know what the feelings are like. You really don't know those feelings till you walk in. And some people don't. There's some people that don't feel anything when they walk in their front door. But then there's other people that walk in and they're just like on edge, like instantly.
Well, and it changes literally from moment to moment too.
Yeah.
Because like I was telling you before the show, I don't know how many people have ever heard me say I was at a location and I got jerked back because they felt I didn't need to be down the hallway, and that was down at Old Park. But I think it went the room that had the paint cans in it. That's the room it went into.
The workshop in the back.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of what stuck out. But moments before that, I was fine going down there. Nothing was down there. And then after because Stormy had her bra strap done. But after that, it was fine again.
She still talks about that, by the way. That really got her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we were out, I know we were on her bus after that, and we were talking about it too. And I was like,
right.
No, it didn't happen to me. But then I know upstairs, when you come up the stairs, the hallway to the right. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
We had the SLS going up there, and we had the cat ball. It looked like possibly a young child up there. I do have a question. How did the doll room react? Or in the doll room, did Susan, Stormy's doll, did it go in the doll room? And how did the dolls react to that?
Doll room?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think she took Susan in there.
She didn't? Okay.
No, I think she felt something from the beginning, and she just didn't feel okay with doing that. The first time also, it was her first time. Mm-hmm. By the way, she's been there twice.
I know.
wait till you see what's coming. But anyway, yeah. There's a big Australian TV show that's going to come out. You're going to see some cool stuff.
This I got to see.
Yeah, but she's been back and did a lot more. But anyway, that I don't remember taking Susan in there. I really don't. And the doll room, you bring up an interesting thing because it's been a while since you've been there. I've added a lot more stuff in there.
Because I think I was there in February of last year.
Yeah, I've added a lot of stuff, and people are seriously feeling the energy now going back there. Connie's like, no more dolls. And she's probably looking at me right now. She's like, no more dolls.
Tell Connie I'm going to bring 5 dolls.
Yeah.
just because I didn't get a mirror last time.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm now intrigued by this doll room because I have a shelf that I take with me everywhere.
I was gonna say, Jeremy, your doll looks like you might be able to make some new friends down there.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, Jeremy, there are 8 dolls in that room that have come from other locations that where stuff used to happen.
Yeah.
And these people were like, "Do you want to take them?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take them." You know, there's already stuff here. But even Nick said it in Deathwalker when he was here. He thinks that has something to do with spurring the activity. You know, that's already there. It's I don't know. It's almost like taking up the activity at another level from what it already was, and it was already pretty high. I think you guys would like it. It really is an experience, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have multiple teams coming back. We've had teams that have been back many, many different times because they want to get more. They want to add more evidence, and every time they come back, something different. And it really has solidified that feeling because we're in there a lot versus teams coming in. We're in there by ourselves a lot. By the way, sleeping in that place alone is crazy. I've done it. People don't realize what that's like. It'll make you think about the paranormal a whole different way doing that. I've been. I'll give you an idea. There's been nights where I've slept in there alone, and at 4 a.m. I'm pacing out in the street by my truck because it's almost too much to take in. You know, you would think as an investigator you'd be up there investigating it. No, when it wakes you up from a dead sleep and you hear the things that I've heard and seen the things I've seen, it makes you nervous. You know, it really does. It's not that I'm afraid of the paranormal because I've done a lot of things and here I own a haunted building, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me nervous because it does. The paranormal's like that. You don't know what's going to come at you next, and you don't, especially in this building, you don't know what's going to happen next. And matter of fact, we just had a guy thrown out of the chair this past weekend, and he's a repeat person that's been there, and he got drove. Basically, I want to say about a year ago, maybe not even a year ago, him and other friends that have been there investigating, they're all pilots, and they flew all their planes in to the little airport right outside Ballinger, which used to be a World War II B-24 Liberator training base back in the day, and now it's just a little private airport next to fields. And it really, you know, short of the sign, you wouldn't even know it was out there. But what's funny is the planes that are out there, they keep them in the hangars, so it looks like a ghost town airport. But when these guys fly in, they bring in like 4 or 5 planes, and they park them. And I'll have to go pick them up and bring them to the hotel. Well, he had come in a little ways back, and around 3:45 in the morning, I'd gone to bed actually, and they were doing their thing, and they had the scariest experience. And next thing you know, I'm hearing 4 or 5 guys screaming at the top of their lungs, running like you won't believe, practically tearing down the stairs as they're coming down the stairs. And then by the time I get out, they're all out in front. And he was like, "I just want to leave." He's like, "I'm done." He goes, "I'm not coming back." He goes, "I've had enough of the paranormal." He said, "This was enough for me." And it just, they said it was the scariest sound that they've ever heard. And what was even crazier was they had a recorder going right up in that area, and the recorder didn't get anything, even though you could hear them just taking off screaming all of a sudden like you won't believe. So the recorder didn't pick up what they heard with their own ears, which they, in their words, they said it sounded like thousands of spirits screaming at the same time. And that particular night, we came to find out that the owner that we bought the building from, she passed away that night around that same time.
Wow.
So that added more substance to the fire, because we started thinking maybe those spirits were moaning her death, you know, because her relatives are there. her family had
Or maybe she decided to come to the hotel and make her announcement.
could have been, but that we didn't even find out till the next morning that she had passed away, and that just added more substance. Well, anyway, he came back, even though he said over and over and over, "I'm not coming back." We are like, "Yeah, you'll be back." We are like, "You're gonna come back for more." And he's like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "That's the scariest experience I've ever had." Well, he came back and he was okay. Things weren't really happening till this weekend, till he took on Deacon again in the back room, sitting in that chair, our infamous chair that we got back there. And we put up a video clip. Well, the video clip was played off of their camera feed, so you can't hear the audio while they're sitting there at the time. It's him and another guy. I think it was around 3 o'clock, 2:45 in the morning. I was in bed. I didn't know any of this till the next morning, but it flipped him in a chair. And you could actually see something coming down on the wall right before he gets flipped.
Oh, wow.
And it's on an infrared camera, which makes it look like daylight, but it was pitch black in there. And, infrared doesn't give you the best resolution, unfortunately, but you can definitely see something coming down the wall. And then at that moment, he just gets flipped like you won't believe.
If I can find that clip, do you mind if Jeremy tries to play it?
You can put whatever you want to. You can put whatever you want to put on. Yeah,
I think it's on your Facebook page.
Yeah. I say definitely put it on, because we shared it for a reason. I think I shared it right after it happened on Saturday or the next day.
Great back.
And you can even see his partner jump off the. He's sitting on the chest, and his partner jumps up and starts shining the light into the bathroom. So they were hearing something in the bathroom at the time also.
Let's see.
And when you guys later, I mean, you guys, you know what it's like, Eileen. It's crazy in there. Later, when you guys see what Nick Groff got in there, because he spent 2 nights in there, it's a lot of stuff's going to come out. It's going to really start spilling the beans on what this place is really about.
Well, I know, actually, that's how me and Mustafa started talking on Facebook. I mean, not like we talk all the time, but I can't find it on your page. I wonder if it's on Old Park, but was because when I found out that Flumeri was doing the event there, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you need to stay in this room." He goes, "Well, what activity did you get?" I said, "Nope, not telling you. You got to get it yourself."
Mustafa, actually, the first time, he's been there 3 times now. He loves it. He loves coming back. The first time he was there, me and him, towards the end of the night, were upstairs towards the back, and he had some devices back there, and there was nobody behind us at all. Everybody was down the hallway, probably a good 30, 40 feet doing their stuff. We're standing there, and all of a sudden the boots walked up on us from behind, and Mustafa's head does a 180 and looks straight back into the darkness. And then he looks back at me with the biggest eyes I've ever seen. And it's pretty funny, because Mustafa's investigated so many locations, and he looks straight at me and goes, "Dan, this place is legit."
And that's exactly what he probably said.
And I looked back at him and I went, "Now you know."
But yeah, I sent the clip on the group chat, Jeremy. Did you get it? I think this is the right clip that you're talking about. I'm 99.89% sure.
It's a short clip. Yeah.
Okay.
About 20 seconds long, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, it is. So
they're going to put up a better version of it. This was like something that they just did real fast the next morning before they left from the projector. That's why it looks funny.
I feel like I'm stalking Dan or something. I'm like, yeah, I know about this. I feel like I'm stalking you.
To me, it's a good clip. Once you know the backstory to it, unless somebody really telling you, you can't really tell what's happening in it, but it's pretty cool.
Okay.
We seriously think that was Deacon doing that. This Deacon's gone after him before.
Well, you got to make sure before I'm there in a couple of weeks that they've got to be active to me, but be nice.
Yeah. See, that's what
nice.
See, that's what Adrian was talking about with her experience. Her experience was with Deacon, and a lot more people are getting Deacon. I don't know what it is. He's just making himself. We think he's making himself more well known now. And there's quite a few of them in there with different attitudes, but his.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm trying to convince, because of the drive, of course, trying to convince my husband to go with me. And so, if he does go, this will be his first time to stay at a haunted location.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see if he goes, what happens.
Okay, I'm ready to share this thing.
You ready?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to share this thing. So one of you guys like to set this up?
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, what we're watching here again is a video that was shot Saturday night. Ghost Geeks was there with the big group. And Ryan, who's again been to the hotel several times, he's been scared out of the place before. Vowed he wasn't going to come back. He did. And this has been like his second visit since then. And we had just investigated to jail. They were having a lot of stuff happen Saturday night. And I was worn out. I don't know if it was paranormal or what, but I fell asleep probably around midnight, 1 o'clock. Well, anyway, they went and continued investigating. And at around 2:45, I think it's when this clip is. This is when this happened. And they were just sitting there, and it tosses him.
Okay.
Here comes the orb.
He's on the lower right.
Frame right over the top of you. Up.
It goes up
and then bumps.
and down I go.
That's good.
Now that's a good evidence right there.
They're talking about it. Sure. That's their voices.
We captured
Ryan, you were fucking.
You play it one more time?
Yeah.
Too quick.
Here comes the orb. Here. In the frame, right over the top of you. Up.
It goes up
and then bumps.
and down
you see that weird thing on the wall? Did you see that?
Now that's a good evidence right there.
The best one all night.
Right there on that right wall, there's something weird that's coming down.
In the frame, right over the top of you. Up.
It goes up
and then it
down
shoots up.
Yeah, I never noticed that part, but I did.
Yeah,
see
watch
it.
It comes down and then it shoots up, and that's when he gets tossed.
Frame, right over the top of you. Up.
It goes up
and then bumps.
and down I go.
If it's what I think you're saying, it looks really faint, just like right here.
So at least we captured
Ryan,
Well, you probably can't even see my cursor, can you?
No, I can't see the cursor.
It's like right above the black hole, the opening.
Yeah, right there to the right where that black hole opening is. You see some weird light manifestation come down.
In the frame, right over the top of you.
Right there.
It goes up
and then bumps.
and down
Yeah,
I go.
I see it.
It actually looks like it actually looks like it comes through.
And then it shoots up.
Yeah, it almost looks like it comes through the wall.
We
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, what are we looking at? Sorry, I had to get off for a minute or two.
Well, stick around, you find out.
See, this is
we're doing a show, Nick.
See, this is
I had
at
to go use the
2.
washroom.
If you look at the thing, it's at 2:38 a.m. That's when this happened. So
So Nick, pay attention to the wall above the opening.
Okay.
Too quick.
Here comes the orb. Here. In the frame, right over
Right
the top
there.
of you.
Whoa, yeah.
now watch it.
down I go.
There he goes.
Whoa.
Now that's a good
Oops.
evidence right there.
The best one all night for sure.
And see, he
Ryan, you were.
did you see how he shined into the bathroom? He was. I didn't really talk with him, but he was feeling something in that bathroom too.
I like how it just kind of fell over.
In the frame,
No, he's
right
talking
over
about the
top
other
of you.
guy.
It goes
Yeah.
up and down I go.
Now that's a good evidence right there.
The best one all night for
It's
sure.
like he
we
heard
captured
something
mine.
in
You
the
were
bathroom right after that happened.
Yeah.
What?
Something got his attention. Yeah.
So what is that opening right over by the wall, Dan?
It's where they used to put the old heaters, the old gas heaters in the wall. They pulled it out.
Now that's a good
Okay.
evidence right there.
It's an old hotel, so it used to run on gas. It doesn't run on gas anymore.
Right. It's now. I assume it's running on electricity.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jill here says she thinks it's the flashlight go on the wall and shoot up through. Or
No,
shoot
it's
up
not.
no,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Watching when I saw her comment.
Yeah, I don't think that didn't.
I don't think the flashlight ever moved.
If it and plus, if you
flashlight.
well, plus if you think about it too, if you think about it too, if it was the flashlight, first off, of course, understandably, someone would have noticed, and it probably would have been a lot.
It would have been a lot brighter. It would look just like the other guy's flashlight. Yeah.
Let's look at it again, because normally you can be able to see a beam, but at the same time, you don't see whatever that is that comes up on the wall. You don't see it moving to its spot. It's like it just appears out of nowhere. It's
just weird
play
looking.
It again.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it again. All right.
Here comes the orb right here in the frame, right over the top of you. Up.
It goes up.
And then
no, that's not a flashlight.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not a flashlight for sure. You would have seen the beam. Yeah.
No, I just have
at at the front, and you'll see.
Here comes the orb right here.
What was that at the very bottom?
You saw that too, right? There's something else. Yeah.
Now that's a good.
No, I gotta ask Dave. I mean, I already get what those things are like right in front. I guess they're cords or something. Is that to like a ceiling fan or something?
What they were doing was this. They did this more. He had cameras set all around the hotel, and when this happened, it happened at close to 3 a.m. They went to bed, and when they first got up, they ran this back on our big screen that's in our presentation room. So what you're seeing is, I think this is recorded off the phone, looking at our big screen as they're replaying it, and then they're talking about it.
No, I was just wondering what those strings were that were kind of in the way.
Bottom of the screen.
Yeah. That is coming from a seating fan that's in our presentation room.
Okay,
that's on our big. That's on our big screen. Yeah.
I just wanted to know what that was. So Jill just said.
And down I go.
Yeah.
Now that's a good.
He's going to put out the better video because there's audio to this, which he couldn't play at the time. So he's going to come out with a much better video than what we're looking at.
Walls are flying about, but not sure if it's dust exactly. Now, Jeremy, what did you say? Like it's right at the bottom of the screen. Like which part?
It's right at the very bottom of the screen. Look at his knee. Look at the guy that falls over. Look at his knee at the very beginning.
Okay, so the top, bottom right side corner.
The bottom right, yeah.
Look at his knee.
Oh,
right there.
Yeah.
Right there was something. Yeah.
That is weird. That's
there was something right there. Yeah.
In the frame, right over.
Doesn't look like his arm either. I don't know.
Well, at first I thought it was the flashlight.
I was going to say, is there a way we could pause it right when it shows up?
And down
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to do, but
that was
because of where it's at and how it is on the screen, when I put my cursor over the video, then the thing pops up and it covers it.
It comes all the way from his leg, if you notice, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Oops, sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Too quick.
Well, wait! You just had it on a frame. There it is. There it is. Yep, you just missed it.
Yeah.
There. Oh, wait! Just hang on.
Wait, Nick, are you messing with it too?
Not anymore. I'm not touching it.
It definitely doesn't look like a hand or anything. I don't know what it is.
Now hold on, go back a little bit further and look next to the guy holding the flashlight.
Oh, wait, Jeremy, you got it. Just go one more frame.
Do you guys notice he's also looking in the bathroom right there?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
he was experiencing something going on in there.
It's almost like as if whatever. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, right there.
It seems like whatever was in that room, and who was that? Who was that sitting that was looking in the bathroom? What was his name?
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan. So if Ryan was looking, it's almost like as if something was trying to get his attention in the bathroom, and whatever that thing was, it's like it was trying to sweep by so he didn't notice.
Yeah. It's weird. A lot of people have been thrown out of this chair. Some people have been thrown out of the chair so hard they lose their breath.
Remind me to sit in the chair.
He actually described it almost like he said, we thought whatever it was grabbed the chair from behind, but he said it felt more like something picking him up. Is what he said it felt like.
Okay.
Yeah, remind me, take me to the chair and say, this is the chair you're going to sit in.
It's even you guys are going to see later in Deathwalker, Nick has a scene in there, and he literally, when he gets back to that room, he starts getting nauseated.
No, I had to walk away.
Yeah, Nick.
Dinner time.
Yeah,
what room is that in?
It's the very back room, the back room on the left, upstairs.
And you said that's a presentation room too?
No.
I thought you were talking about the same room.
No, they were playing this in our presentation room, which is up front. But I was just explaining what you were seeing with that cord. That's the reason why you were seeing that.
Okay.
No, he outfitted the whole place with a lot of cameras. And like I said, they had to leave, that next morning, so they didn't have a whole lot of time to really get this down to nitty gritty. But they couldn't wait to see what the camera saw, when it happened.
I wouldn't either. If I just got ripped out of a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily he wasn't.
The guy that is sitting in that chair is tipping back in it.
That's the thing we don't know. I mean, that's always a possibility, but usually what happens is people will lean back, a certain way where you feel natural. And then usually they will get the chair grabbed past that point. And it's like a yank. It's like somebody coming up playing almost like a joke and grabbing the back of the chair and just giving you a hard yank. I felt it too.
Yeah.
I've had my legs come off the ground before. I didn't fall, but I almost did. Some people, it just really goes after. And like I say, those are what I call the violent situations, which does happen. We do have those. And luckily,
I gotta admit, the guy in the video, the one that was looking into the bathroom, he kind of reminded me of John.
Yeah.
John, you all would see what the room. When you look at these rooms on video, and you haven't been there, you don't really know. It looks like an ordinary room. We don't have much stuff in this room, and the chair is there for a reason. Because from the very beginning, when we bought the hotel, was sitting in another room, and I kept hearing metal squeaking noises. Couldn't figure out what it was for the first 2 weeks, and a paranormal group came in around that time and moved the chair, and I came running down the hallway like a crazy man, going, "That's the noise! That's the noise I've been hearing, for the last 2 weeks." So they picked up the chair 6 years ago and put it in this room, right where it's sitting. And ever since then, it's been a roller coaster ride with that chair. People have sat in that chair. We've gotten the craziest Class A EVPs of a deep Western voice. Had at one time a Marine was sitting in there, and it said, "Get out of my chair, boy." And pretty deep, very distinctive twang voice, and didn't sound friendly.
Be careful what you wish for, Eileen.
Yeah,
you may get an EVP this time saying, "Get out of my chair, girl."
Yeah, and what's crazy?
This is the same room.
I would sit in that chair myself.
That someone possibly got pushed out the window or something. This is that same room.
Run that by me again, Eileen.
Isn't there a room that someone got pushed out?
Oh no! That's up the hallway, and that's another. That's probably our most sinister room.
Because you do feel, feel totally different in that room.
Wait till you see what comes up on that room.
So what floor is this particular room in?
This is the second floor towards the back.
Okay, and how many floors are there total in this building?
It's just a 2-story building, but it's 10,000 square feet. If you count all the bathrooms in the building, you're talking about 40 rooms. So it's a pretty good size. It's not the largest location out there, but it's not the smallest.
I sent you some pictures of the external part.
Yeah, it's deceiving when you see it from the front. When you look at our pictures, you don't realize how far back it goes. And when you're inside, that's when you can really tell.
At 10,000 square feet and only 2 floors, I can just about imagine the size of this. That would actually make about 4 of my houses.
Yeah. They're very very long hallways. When you look at our pictures, like on our Facebook page, it doesn't do it justice. You can't tell how long these hallways really are.
Wow. Yeah. See, I decided to look at that up right now, so let's see for myself.
Well, I've only looked up where Ballinger is at, and it's an 18.5-hour drive for me, so I can be there today.
Well, I know when we pulled up, I was like, how are all of us going to fit in this location? Of course, because David booked it and then canceled on us. But I was like thinking that. And I walked in. Even when you walk in, you still don't get the big feel because you're walking into.
When you're standing in the lobby, you still don't feel it. Yeah.
But it's like it's going and going. You're like, wait, where am I?
Yeah. Dan, you're not kidding, by the way, about those hallways. I mean, just seeing the images of it. There's even Google images, and that's just like insane.
Oh, when you're standing there at night all by yourself, staring down that hallway. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like
it gets your attention.
I was gonna say it's got to be like staring like at a black, like a endless black pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, isn't Ballinger also the one that has a haunted house?
We run a haunted house in there. Is that what you're talking about?
No, like an actual residential haunted house. That people use for business.
No, I'll be honest with you. The town is pretty darn haunted. We've come to find out over the last 6 years, but I just told you that the courthouse also has a lot of activity. The jail obviously has a lot of activity. Numerous houses in Ballinger have a lot of paranormal activity. We just think it goes back to the Old West. It's all linked. Everything's all linked to that time period.
I was gonna say that like even just going on the Wikipedia page about Ballinger, Texas. I mean, they don't really talk about the ghost stories, but they say it features historic 1800 buildings with shops and restaurants. So I could sure understand why the whole town would be haunted.
Well, even the courtyard that I was telling y'all about with the gazebo in it, I mean, you just feel like people are just walking around you and there's no one around there.
Correct.
But it's gorgeous. Yeah. I love it.
How big is Ballinger?
Right now, it's only like 3,500 people. But back in the day, when it got formed, it was much larger. What happened was they were trying to form the next Dallas in West Texas back in 1886. And they advertised like crazy. And they actually did the auction right across the street from our building on the lawn right across the street. And it said that day there were thousands and thousands of people standing there for that auction, basically buying the lots that they were giving away practically for free. And it was a railroad town. It was created by the Gulf, Colorado, and Santa Fe Railroad Company. So they were pumping a lot of interest into it. And the interesting thing is that Ballinger was incorporated in 1886, but there was a settlement there before. It was basically the name was changed to Ballinger in 1886 when it was fully incorporated. It was called Hutchins before. And Hutchins is the name of the street, the main street right outside.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And back in the day, it was this little settlement of Hutchins, and the railroad company went in and developed it. And it's said in history, it's said that there was a lone house sitting there among all the shacks and various things. And we're still trying to prove it, but we think our building was formed from a 2-story white house, very old white house. And they kept adding to it. And we think we could be the house. That could possibly be the house that's referred to.
Oh, wow.
And also they say possibly that the courthouse was built in 1889, right across the street. But there are some rumors that they held court in our building before the courthouse was built. So we're just trying to dig all this up and trying to prove it, which is really hard because we hear a lot of this from historians, from hearsay, different things. We know the place is super, super old, but we're just trying to nail it. That's the reason why we say circa 1886, because there's possibility we might be older than 1886. We don't know.
Well, I will tell you, if you're going and you feel like you're lost, you're really not, because you will see the dust storms hit. You'll see, because I know when we were driving there, we stopped at Abilene first to stay the night and then continued the drive. And I was like, oh my gosh, where are we? Because we passed nothing but fields.
Well, what's funny is where Ballinger sits. It's like a 90-degree angle to San Angelo, which has where we live, which is 100,000 people. And then you have Abilene on the other 90, about the same distance, either direction. So you just draw a 90-degree angle, and there's Ballinger right in the bottom corner.
See, I had to stay in Abilene.
Like right there. Yeah.
I had to stay in Abilene because I'd never been to Abilene. My dad's from Texas, but he went to Abilene Christian, and I had to at least say Sweet Eileen's at Abilene. So.
And Abilene, has one of the few B-1 bomber bases here in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you see the B-1 bombers come, guess where they're coming from?
They're coming from Abilene. Yeah. Abilene, yeah.
My dad was raised in Jefferson, Texas. Well, actually, Gary or Gray, I don't remember how it's spelled, which one it is, but Texas. So he had to go to school in Jefferson.
Yeah. Did you know you're not visible right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does that a lot. Jill Jill was asking, how close is the railroad, though? Pretty close to Abilene?
You mean the railroad coming through Ballinger is like right
Ballinger.
there. Comes right through the middle of town. It's only a block away from the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like right there. Here's the funny part. Ballinger had a big, huge flood in 1905 because the Colorado River runs right by Ballinger.
Yeah, I saw on the info.
And there's actually another waterway that comes around the other side of town, like a tributary. Well, basically what happened in 1905, the water just really came from both sides. And we sit on 6th Street. And everybody knows when a town is created, it starts on 1st Street and goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 6th Street, we're on 6th Street. If you look at 5th behind us, 4th behind us, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, everything's gone.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking at the map right now.
Yeah, I'm looking. That's what I'm doing as well.
Yeah. We think the flood took out a lot of the old buildings that used to exist on those old streets. And the fact that our building sits on 6th Street and we pulled up really old plots of it, that's why we think it's really, really old.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're right next to the courthouse. We're right on Courthouse Square.
It's amazing to me, too, that, how you guys are close. And when I looked up the information about not only just the, town itself, but the county, Runnels County, it shows the courthouse right there in the Wiki page.
Yeah, and the courthouse has changed its looks. They, the 40s, they took off the whole top of the courthouse. So if you look at the historic pictures, we also have an old picture of our, 2 old pictures of the house, one with the courthouse in it. You can just see how everything's changed over time. And when you look at our building without really knowing its history, you wouldn't realize it started off as a 2-story white house.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning.
Okay.
And it would take a lot of money to have a house like that back in the day.
Oh, I'm sure it would have.
Yeah. And we think the reason why it might be possibly the first house there, we don't know. But we think that the Seacrest family had it at one point. And the Seacrest family, Washington Hampton Seacrest the first, was actually one of the first Texas Rangers.
Here we go.
And also brought in Santa Anna when he was arrested from the Alamo.
Oh, wow.
And we think that the money, we're still trying to prove this also, but we think that the money possibly came from him to his son, because back in the day they gave land to people when they did really good things. That was the honorary gesture. And everybody knows if you get a lot of land and you sell it off in time, you're going to have a lot of money. And we think Washington Hampton Seacrest II, we think that's where he got all his money from his dad. And he has several daughters, and he had a ranch in Nebraska from where he was from originally. And he went back to Nebraska and left this house to his daughters. And we think that could be where the first brothel came from, because we thinking they were trying to figure out a way to run this place.
Right. Okay.
Looking at the hotel from the front, it doesn't look like it'd be a hotel.
Yeah. You know what? I was going to say, you know what it looks more to me? It looks more like, because we see this a lot with these old buildings, it almost looks more like an antique shop.
It was back in the day. I mean, when we bought it, it had antiques written across the front, which we had to paint and cover up as people were still walking in thinking we were selling them. The other cool thing I forgot to point out was when the railroad company came through here in the late 1800s, they went to the county seat, which was north of Hutchins at the time, which was called Runnels City. And that's where your shops were. That's where your influence was at the time. And they said, we're thinking about putting the railroad through here. Well, those people thought they had it. And Runnels City was about 7 miles north of us. And they got a little cocky and they didn't try hard enough. And the railroad decided, they were all about water source back in the day. They wanted things close to rivers. And the Colorado River was a big selling point for Hutchins. So they just came down and created this town. And they told everybody up in Runnels City, they said, we'll help you dismantle your buildings and bring everything here and give you lots practically for free. And guess what happened? All those people broke their buildings down.
Oh, geez.
And if you look at the very top of our building, we have an old picture of a building from Runnels City, which was taken probably about 1880, somewhere in there. And the top of that building looks very similar to the top of our building. So we're thinking that the whole side of our building and some of the top might have come from pieces from Runnels City.
Well, to add to the running list of what I love about your location is because it's in a smaller town and you don't get a lot of noise contaminations when you're investigating, because that's the worst thing in the world is when you're at a location and you just have anything you get is kind of just thrown out because of noise contamination.
Right.
You don't have that. I mean, you do have a little bit, everybody
has a little bit on the highway, but it gets really quiet.
Yeah. But when it's investigation time, it's very, very minimum because you get the businesses around there closed and
it's downright spooky sometimes, especially on weekdays walking around. It's
like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Perfect conditions when you want to do an investigation.
Yeah. I think you would like it if you guys came because, she's seen it. Everyone that's come wants to come back.
Put it this way. We talked about Stormy. Stormy has traveled so many different locations to investigate, and she's been there multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. She, like I said, this thing, when it comes out in Australia, I think you guys are going to like it. That was pretty cool. So, and there's other things coming. So I think we're going to open the door and more people are going to hear about the place and see what really goes on in there.
I definitely would be interested. It's unfortunately, yes, it's a far drive for me. I live in Chicago, Illinois. So it would be, but still a place I would certainly add to my list.
Yeah. It's definitely popping up on people's bucket lists. Mm-hmm. Just like there's places up in the Northeast I'd love to see. Unfortunately, it's the distance that makes it hard.
Yep.
And people are always inviting us to different locations because they want us to see. And we've become so busy. That's the other thing, because we have our regular jobs, because we're both high school teachers. And that's why we only do weekends most of the year. Summer, like June and July, we just opened it up for every day of the week because we're available. But our bookings right now are running about 5 or 6 months in advance. So you
So
pretty
right,
much
Jill.
have to get in pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get somebody that's with
Yeah.
Delta or Southwest Airlines.
Yeah,
They-
travel discounts. Come on.
Okay, I
Let's
want
do
to
it.
touch up on what Joe just said because I've seen two things happen today. One of them bad, and one of them good. I'm going to start with the bad one.
Okay.
There is a location. I am not going to reveal its name, but it is a very popular location here in Indiana that has decided to put because of the raising gas prices, and the owner also happens to live there at the location, has decided to add on a $25 surcharge on all of his investigations.
Ah,
Yeah,
jeez.
You would have thought they would come down in price.
that's
Right?
what you would think. But I happen to know who this owner is, and he's money hungry.
Yeah.
He is also the same kind of guy who buys up all these old locations because he wants to save them. But one of these locations, he is just letting go to shit. But I also, within the hour of hearing about this one, I have also seen another location, extremely popular location that's down in Tennessee, that said that due to the gas prices, we are going, for the time being, we are going to give all teams a $50 discount to help out with your gas and everything.
Wow.
And I thought, that's the way to do business.
Yep.
It could
Indeed.
be. It depends what price they're charging to start with, though. Because we figured our price right where we could pay our bills. That's kind of where it's at.
The one here in Indiana, it's been 2-3 years since I've been there. They would charge about $40 a person.
Okay, so what average are they costing per group?
See, I don't really remember. I remember having to pay $40 each time that I would go there.
Yeah.
But
See, we don't.
small-
That's just it.
it's a
We don't
small
do it
scale.
by the member of a group. We do it by the group.
Yeah,
So
if
you
you're
can
Jill
one
either
has
person, you can
Yeah.
have
Jill
the
has a
full
great
location
point.
to yourself,
yeah.
or you can be.
Yeah,
you
we
can
could.
share.
We've had groups. We've had groups as small as 2 people, and we've had
Mm.
groups as large as 20 people,
Now,
and we
look,
charge the same price. So it's like,
and again, you're saving. I mean, it's one thing to price gouge,
yeah.
but like what Dan and them are doing is they're just doing enough to save a historical location.
Well, that and pay the bills.
Well, that's how what
Yeah.
saves the historical location.
That's just 2 bookings alone is what pays my electricity bill. So it kind of gives you an idea.
I gotta agree with what Jill said. Oh man, we need to form our own travel agency just for paranormal investigators. Someone that understands the field and it's necessary.
Actually, Jill, there is something in the works for that.
There is.
Yes.
Oh, should I be scared? Should I get an adult?
No, but there is kind of something in the works for that. It's in the pre-production stages of that.
I'm kind of scared of wanting to know.
Yeah, that's all I can really say about that right now. We're just kind of planning, but there is kind of something along those lines.
I just feel like a kid in a candy store right now because I'm going, ooh, I'm going in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be at Old Park.
You get to see it again.
I definitely do want to come out there to Old Park. I've heard everybody talking about it. I've heard several people talking about it. I do want to get down there sometime.
If you guys do, you need to do it pretty soon. But like I said, we're already super. What do you say? Oh,
I'm with Nick. We want to know what Jeremy was talking about. You know what? She might have to be the adult to accompany me.
We're all in good time. Like everything good that comes out is going to take time because we want to work on this and plan this out so that when it does get launched, it's done right. You don't want to just do something willy-nilly and, I need to fix this. I need to fix that. No. You want to get this done right the first time.
Right.
What I was going to say was we really have gotten crazy busy with our bookings. and half the stuff hasn't even come out on the place yet. So we already know when all this stuff comes out, we're probably gonna be 3 times busier than we are right now.
Just remember us
with our
little guys.
bookings.
Just remember us little
Yeah.
guys that love your location before everything came out.
Yeah. Because honestly, when all these television projects come out, people are going to get a better idea of what is really happening in this place. Because, like I said, when Fright Club was a great show, and I loved that show, but they just showed one segment. It was one little story on the whole thing. When all this other thing comes out, especially Nick's show, it's going to show a lot more.
Now,
when you were talking about that the hotel might have been the original house back then, have you looked at the rooms and the structures and everything and noticed it? Well, this part of the hotel doesn't quite match up with this part.
Yeah, you can tell. There used to be another staircase in our hotel going the opposite direction on the wall. And you can tell exactly where that staircase was because that wall would have been an exterior wall at one point, which now is in the middle of the building. So that kind of gives you an idea. And our stairs now are going the opposite direction. So there's been a lot of modifications. The first clue was there were 2 attics, actually 3 attics. And
when
you have, we have 3 attics. And that's the first clue when you buy a building and you find 3 attics, that tells you right there that it went in phases.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's another side of Dan.
Huh?
So why don't you tell us about the writer, Dan?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me tell you about the newest book. I got an idea. I've had 3 books come out already. Adrian was holding up one of them. I wrote in 2012. Called Shadow of the Ghost Hunter. I've written 2 other ones. They're all on Amazon. But anyway, this 4th book it's called Fear is Just a Word. And the idea with this whole book concept was everybody hears.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Everybody hears ghost stories all the time from owners of the buildings, of these locations, which is great. But how about hearing about the experiences directly from the people that experience the things? I think that's even better. So what I've done is a lot of people have given me their personal stories to put into this book. So this is a firsthand account of a lot of people over the last 6 years that have been in the Holt Park Hotel giving their own personal ghost stories of what happened to them.
Now, is that one already released or in the process of being released?
Coming. It's coming. It's going to probably be, give you a hint, probably be in the next 2.5 weeks.
So by the time I make it to Olde Park, it may
possibility. I don't know if I have copies yet, but possibility that it will be finalized by then. I'm not going to promise anything. I don't know for sure. Buying book copies is not cheap.
Excuse me. Sorry.
So basically, I have to basically invest and buy the copies ahead of time, to sell. So
yeah, a lot of people think
we'll cross our fingers. We also have a contest going on right now where people can win an overnight group investigation, a free T-shirt, and also a copy of the new book. The drawing is going to take place on July the 4th. Just had it a few days ago announced. A lot of people bought entries already. It's $25 an entry. So a lot of people have bought entries already. It's also considered a fundraiser for the hotel, so it's helping. But everybody gets a great opportunity to get a free overnight to use. Well, not a free overnight, but for $25 entry, they're paying a lot less than what they would normally pay. And we're going to have somebody really cool announcing that winner on July 4th.
Hey, how did I miss this? I normally keep up what's going on at Olde Park. I missed this one.
I've been all over the page promoting this. I mean, we've had a lot of people buy entries so far.
I think I've just been overly busy, maybe, and that's why.
Yeah. But initially, we were going to announce the winner, but we're going to have somebody really cool announcing the winner.
Hey, Jeremy, Melissa was telling everybody why you left.
Needed a refill.
Yeah.
So besides Old Park, let's take that one out of the equation. What's your favorite place to investigate?
My favorite place? Well, I've been to Yorktown. I love Yorktown. A lot of activity there. We were one of the first paranormal teams to investigate that location when it opened. Because I was with the owner. We were with the owner when he bought the Yorktown, and we were on a different paranormal team and went in there, did the first event years ago in Yorktown. That was way before Ghost Adventures was there and everything. So I love Yorktown. A lot of stuff. I'll be honest with you. My favorite location is hard because, in my opinion, I've been in so many, and every place has a little something different to offer, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been to so many different historic locations, and they all bring things out. I sound biased if I said our building. You know,
That's what I said. Let's take that one out of the
I
equation.
love. I'll be honest with you. I never know what's going to happen next in our building, and when you have paranormal activity happening on the level that it does in our building, to both me and Connie, when we're there just by ourselves, that's enough to keep the excitement. It's not that I don't have places on my bucket list. I do. One of them is Trans Allegheny. I've wanted to see that for forever.
I think I'm working on that, or not me, but a friend of mine's working on that for us for next year.
Years ago, I did Myrtle's Plantation. I did like 4 nights there, investigating it. It was okay, but the drawback of Myrtle's was there was just too many people around.
Yeah.
I like going to locations where I can really get to the nitty gritty and really dig down and really figure out not only what the paranormal is or why it might be caused, things like that. I think we can all agree we're all way past the days of trying to confirm if the paranormal exists or not.
It's now just trying to figure out who is the one.
Yeah, you remember back in the days, all the television shows were all doing that. They were just trying to investigate, just to see if they could find something. We're way past those days. That's one of the reasons why Nick Roth came to our place. He's way past those days. He's going deep down into numerous theories, ways of looking at things. I'm the same way. Connie's the same way. We're trying to figure out why all the stuff is happening in our building. Who exactly is there? Again, we were told the building was haunted by as many 30 spirits in the very beginning. It's not that we didn't believe the owner in the beginning, but being a past paranormal investigator, I wasn't doubting her, but I was at the same time, I was like, I got to see that. I got to feel that. And, 6 years later, I can say it. Other people can say it. We think that's a good possibility that she could be correct because there's just so many different apparitions that have been seen in the building. So many different things that have happened to people. So many different voices that we capture all the time. That's another thing. Our place spits out Class A EVPs like you won't believe. They're not just one word. They're full sentences and they answer questions directly.
Wow.
I mean, it does that for numerous paranormal teams. I think that's one of the reasons why people want to come back. They're to us, it's like a book. You open it up about your place. You're trying to find out everything about it, but all the pages are blank. But as you're turning the pages, the invisible ink is exposing itself, and you're finding out more and more stories based on what people are acquiring out of your building, if that makes sense. And that's really where we are. I'm just loving all the new possibilities of what might have happened in our building back in the day, because there were good things and there were very, very tragic things. And everybody knows when you go down the murder road in our building with that questioning, because we know that possibility is very high that happened in our building numerous times. the spirits don't like that. And when you go down that road, that questioning road, in your EVP sessions, crazy stuff goes down. Wait till you see what Nick says about it. I'll just leave it at that. Things that he arrived at.
Now, if somebody was going that's never been, and you get on an airplane, so you have to kind of narrow down your equipment. Besides a recorder, what would be what is some of the equipment that's been used there that captures the best evidence?
Everything. The Connect SLS has pulled out some crazy stuff.
That's what we caught the little kid with.
Oh my goodness! We have one. We have the best one. Paid a lot of money for it. Break it out every once in a while. I have to admit, I was very skeptical of the SLS Connect when it first came out because we didn't have one for a while, and I was watching other people use theirs. I had a friend buy one, and he hadn't used it really anywhere else. He had tested it out in different locations, and nothing was really happening. And then he brought it to our hotel. And oh my God, we ran a live video of it. Actually, not a live video, recorded video, but a long video of the whole SLS Connect session that we did that night. And that video has been so popular that even the maker of the SLS Connect shared our video showing what we got on it in the old park. And this was way back in the day when it first came out. And like you said, it's captured crazy things. People bring in. We even caught what looked like two people doing their thing one time.
Not in my bed, I hope.
On the SLS. And we were almost like, oh, excuse us, we'll just, we'll let you be, it's like, and like I said, there's a lot of newfangled equipment, laser grids now, all sorts of things. We have a lot of equipment, a lot of teams are bringing in. Oh, the REM pods. Everybody knows REM pods obviously can go off false with walkie-talkies and stuff. So you got to get rid of the walkie-talkies. You can't be talking on them while you're using that. But everybody knows if you take all those things away, including phones, whatever, on REM pods, and you have REM pods sitting all by themselves down hallways, a lot of times they're just going to sit there. They're not going to do much. Oh my goodness! Wait till you see what REM pods do in our building.
See, that's something
nuts.
I have a REM pod, obviously, and that makes me curious. And plus, kind of similar to a REM pod because I didn't know that these have been. Oh, yeah, she's got her Boo Bear. I also have, and Jeremy, I know I had this, but I actually got a new one. I got an old-fashioned, like Simon Says, the one that you could actually make the switches by choice, like when you wanted to turn on stuff. So I'd be curious to see what a Simon Says would how the way it would react to a place like that.
I think you'd be blown away. I really do.
And we're talking about like one of those original ones because the other one I had, you remember, Jeremy, I accidentally broke part of it, so I got a new one. But the one I got was from the late 70s. So like this is one of the original Simon Says.
God, I forgot about that. Yeah, I got just a small little tiny Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the OG. Only for like $25.
I'm open to anybody bringing anything because our building spits it out. It really does, and people just like walk out and go, "Wow." That's the effect that you have a lot of times. Now, it's not to say that sometimes paranormal teams might come in and the level might be on a lower level. Because the paranormal is like a roller coaster ride. You go up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
And it just depends when your team comes in, where on that up, down you're going to be, with types of activity that you might be getting.
Well, a lot of that is going to have to do with the people themselves.
That too.
Because if they come into your building and they're acting like dickheads, they're going to get ghost blocked.
Yeah. And I've had some groups come in the front door and like right away their head is spinning the moment they walk in the front door. Had a woman walk in, a psychic, the other a little over a week ago, 2 weeks ago. As soon as she walked in the front door, her eyes start going side to side to side, and she points straight up. And she goes, "Who's the judge?"
Oh, okay.
And that was pretty freaky.
Hmm.
You know, that's like the first words out of her mouth walking in the building.
Do you have reports of a judge being there in the building?
We think possibility because we think court might have been held in our building at one point. So there is a possibility. Again, we have to prove it, but psychics have told me that possibly the first Runnels County judge is in our building. I still have to find that out for sure.
Yeah.
But that's something new that's popped up recently, and it's something I want to experiment with.
Eileen, I got to say this quickly because I was doing some history on, Russell's County. I didn't know Russell's County was named after a governor from Mississippi. I don't know if you knew that, Eileen.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was named after a governor from Mississippi.
Wow.
I don't know my governors. Any of them.
Well, I thought you knew, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up just to be
Time to
sure.
go back to school, Eileen.
I study everyone else's state, not mine.
Not everybody cares enough to study the politics of their state.
Well, no. I'm
barely
just
even
saying
know my own governor's name.
in other words, I was just bringing that up because it was named after someone who was from the state of Mississippi. So
I gotta be careful. I got a teacher in my presence, so.
Oh, you're gonna get an F minus minus.
So the hotel, has it always been called Park Hotel?
You know, that's interesting that you bring that up. In the beginning, the hotel in 1920, first of all, it was 3 other hotels we found out before it became the Park Hotel in 1920. It was the Three Sisters Hotel, the Seacrest Hotel, and the Royal Hotel. And then it became the Park Hotel in 1920. The family we bought it from had the place from 1922 on. So they had it for 5 generations.
Wow.
Yeah, so they offered a lot of history, but they also didn't know the other 40 years of history before. And that's what we've been digging up since we've had it the last 6 years. Here's the funny thing about Olde. We put the old spin on it with the old with the E, just to give it a unique name to it.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing. We started using that 6 years ago. And about a year after we bought the building, I was in the alley between our building and the restaurant, which is our alley, which is fenced. And there were some old signs back there. And I pulled one of the signs back that was leaning on the restaurant wall. And guess what it said? Old Park Hotel with the E on it.
Oh, wow.
Which was spooky as anything.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd had not left that sign outside because we didn't know it was outside. And I don't know how long it had been sitting out there, but you know what rain does to wooden signs. It just, it's metal and wood, but it just deteriorated.
Yeah, because it was exposed to the elements.
Right. I pulled it inside. It is sitting in one of our rooms. I'm hoping I can save the sign somehow. I don't know, but I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty
cool. It is.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow.
How successful have you been into digging up all the like the land titles, deeds?
Pretty successful. Here's the problem. Time. We don't have a lot of time, and a lot of times you have to sit in the courthouse going through old deed books. Have you ever gone through old deed books?
I've tried to and found out very quickly I am not good at that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, they're in handwriting that's really hard to read. And you're talking years and years and years and years of going back. Give you an example. Me and my wife went through one deed book, and we actually found another family under the Weeks family that owned our building at one point. But we almost missed that. She was flipping the pages, and after a while, your eyes get kind of, I don't know, hypnotized looking at the writing because it's all different handwriting and it's really hard to read. It's like Dr. Scratch almost, old-fashioned handwriting. And we almost missed one, and there it was right in front of us. So if I ever find more time and I have good eyes, I can probably nail a lot because unfortunately you can't really computer index that stuff. It's in old books. And you have to take the time to go through those deep books. but we know the place is old. In I don't know if you guys ever look at records, but most places on deed really go back to like 1900. They don't really document too far past as far as official records, because a lot of places got going around that time. But if you go through these old deed books, you can actually nail the years a lot better.
Yeah, because I was going to say Reynolds County goes back even
Right.
further to the 1850s from what I
Yeah.
saw.
Somebody pointed at one of our doors one time
Sorry,
that's
Jeremy.
inside, and they said our door architecture of the room, they said it matched their 1870 house, the same type of architecture. So that is a possibility, you know. And that's why we use the word circa 1886, because we don't know exactly. We know it's around that time period. And then we know it's pretty darn old. I pulled square nails out of our wall. Some of them I've given away as souvenirs to people, which is pretty cool. But, you know, when you pull old things out of the wall, that kind of shows you a lot. And it just shows you that it goes way back. And our wood is really hard to drive screws into. I practically break screws off with drills trying to go into our wood. So that shows you how long that wood's been there. It's almost petrified.
Melissa says that there are guys that do old sign restoration.
Yeah, they do. Now, here's a funny thought. We had a guy walk in our building one time, and we were standing there, and he was like, "Do you guys want to sell the building?" And we were like, "What?" And he's like, "I'd like to buy your building." And we were like, "Well, it's not for sale, but just to be curious, why do you want to buy our building?" And he was one of those salvage companies. He said our building's worth like $1 million in salvage alone.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Check that out.
He said it's worth $1 million easy. You know, that's those companies that break things down, unfortunately. You know, and that's not the object of what we're trying to do. You know, we want to keep buildings around. We don't want to tear them down.
Right.
I love the paranormal, but that would be hard to pass.
Yeah, but you got to look at 1800 building, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is too many people are doing things like that, and that's why history is disappearing.
And I agree, because I'm a history nerd. I love history.
Yeah. I think it's cool just to walk into an 1800s building, but to walk into one that's in good condition like ours is inside, you don't see that too often.
No.
You know, and ours is pretty darn solid. The wood in the attic and everything shows it. It's just very solid.
Now, Melissa had another question. You're saying
back then are very solid compared to the buildings built today.
Yeah. They built them to last back in the day.
Everything was built to last back in the day.
Yeah. Now, Melissa had another question was did you find the wooden square nails or the old metal ones? I'm not sure if it was about the signs still or
it's the old wooden square nails.
Okay.
Actually, no, I take it back. It's the old metal ones that I pulled out. But they come from the period, I think around 1900, somewhere in there. Or maybe a little earlier. Yeah. But you could tell.
I heard the smart one back there.
Huh?
I heard the smart one talking.
Yeah, Connie's back here. You can hear her.
So with the building being as old as it is and the possibility of it having been a house before it got turned into a hotel, chances are that there may have been an abstract to the building at one point.
Correct.
Have you found anything like that since you've had this?
Not since. And again, it's the time. You know, honestly, I need more time to do serious research. You would think you'd have all this time, but the way we book, it's hard. You know, it's hard. It's hard just finding the time to do work on the building.
Right.
And to find you got to remember, we both have regular jobs. We work like, you know, over 40 hours a week teaching. And then on the weekends, we're there every single weekend doing our bookings.
Yeah,
so,
that's just doing the stuff there at the school. Then you got to think about what you're doing at home.
And the other problem is a lot of times we're fatigued, we're a little tired, we're mentally tired. And you know, when you do research, you got to have your brain pretty fresh because you have to be really ready to dive into things and take a lot of time. and we're both getting older. You know, I turned 55 in November. I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to slow down a little bit. But I'm hoping to find that time, you know, and get some more research down, because I think some more cool things are going to jump out.
I'm curious what all is hidden in those walls.
That too.
Yeah.
They used to hide things in walls. They used to hide things under floors.
That was their storage area.
Not too long ago, we bored down in our presentation when we bored through the floor, and we ran a camera down there. You know, one of those like what plumbers use with the light, and it looked really interesting down there because it goes down about over a foot underneath the floor. And then on the ground, as we were scoping the ground, we saw a dark hole in the ground covered up by a huge board. And we started running the camera down into the hole, and the camera kept going. So we don't know what's down there. We don't know if we don't know if we have a collapsed basement entrance. There's also been rumors of Ballinger tunnels. We don't know if we have a possible entrance to a tunnel. We don't know. One of these days we're going to get down there. The weird thing is there's no trap door. There's no, you know, every building has a way.
Wow.
Every building has a way to get underneath, but our building doesn't. We're going to have to literally cut somewhere to get down there, which is real strange.
It's like you want to, but you're scared to because you don't want to disrupt the bit. I mean, as far as mess up.
Well, psychics are telling us, and again, it's just a psychic viewpoint, but they're telling us that there is a trap door hidden somewhere, and they're saying that it was hidden long ago for a reason. Now, that's just a psychic impression, you know, coming from people, but it's got to make you wonder when you can't find a way underneath your building, you know.
Maybe
there had to be a way. Yeah, that could be a possibility too.
Anything nefarious.
Have you talked to the restaurant next door to see if they have any trap doors that could possibly lead to yours?
I haven't really gone down that line with them, but again, it's, you know, they're running a business. It's kind of hard to go in there and strike a conversation, but there's a lot of question marks. Let's put it that way. Yep. And if we ever get down there and we find something, that's going to really be some news.
Yeah.
You know?
Jill makes another point. Could have been used for the Underground Railroads too.
Yeah.
How far down the hole was you able to get the camera before you stopped? Did you measure it?
At least 2 feet down, and it was still dark. You know, 2 feet is a good 24 inches. We were almost between 2 feet and 3 feet going down, and it was still dark. In other words, the light was not hitting the ground of that hole.
And the light goes pretty far because it's plumbers.
The light was illuminating the wall, but it wasn't illuminating what was down.
So how wide was the wall area?
It's covered by a board. It's covered by a huge board. The board is probably a good 4 feet across, 5 feet across. And it's laying on the top of the hole.
So, yeah, it's pretty big.
And this was just a section that we went straight down on. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to run those cameras if you've ever done it before. And we did it for a long time. And we kept trying to bend it certain ways, trying to see a little clearer. It is interesting. I will tell you that, because I don't know what's down there. It doesn't look ordinary.
Were you able to tell if there was any writing on the wood?
No, but it looks old. It looks like the wood's been there a long time.
Now, Jill was asking about, do you have a picture or any footage video of that hole by chance we could see?
I don't. I don't. We didn't record it, unfortunately. We were just looking at it through his iPhone. You know, we had it hooked. It's one of those cameras you can hook to the iPhone and look at it as you're going down. Mm-hmm. And it's probably not the best image, you know, that we could have gotten from something like that, but we're doing the best we could that night. I will tell you.
Now I really want to come out to the hotel.
We will eventually go down, and if we do find something, that's definitely going to make some news.
Definitely.
I'll tell you this right now. Whenever I do come down there, that's what we're going to do.
You want to do it? The hole's still there. It's underneath our table, covered up by the carpet. It's still there. Yeah.
Jill was asking, can you describe it again, coming upon it in a way, or because that?
Well, basically, you put your bore camera straight down, through our floor. Then you go down about a good 14 inches till you hit the actual dirt floor underneath our building. And then you start moving it over about 2 feet, and then you see the board. And then as you get closer to the board, you see the edge of the board, and you see about an 8-inch wide hole that is exposed. And then you start going down that hole with the camera, and the camera keeps going. So that kind of tells you. Yeah.
She also suggested if you guys ever manage to get down there, saying bring a medium to see if they could pick up more for you.
Now, here's a possibility. I told you guys the place had a huge flood in 1905. Everybody knows what floods do to tunnels or dirt, earthen basements. There might have been something there. Maybe it was damaged. I don't know,
It's only just until you guys get down there, you won't have a clue then.
Exactly. We're not going to know for sure. It might not be anything, it might have just been something at one point when they dug the gas pipes. That could be a possibility too.
You never know till you try.
We're not going to know till we get down there, see what it's all about.
A well, maybe?
An air hole?
I don't know. If you saw it, it looks very strange. It doesn't look normal.
Does it
you're going to have to show me, right?
Yeah. Now, I just had one other question I can think of. I mean, I know you guys haven't actually been down there, but with whatever you guys have been able to see from these tunnels, I mean, does it have like a cave-like appearance to it in a way, or?
Well, that's the problem because the board is covering most of the hole.
Okay.
And we had a bore camera, so it's not strong enough to push over the deal. Now, I will tell you, we ran a bore rod down because we were testing the density of the earth right underneath. And when you run the bore rod into the earth, it's very hard for about close to 2 feet, and then all of a sudden it gives.
Oh, okay.
So there could be something, they might have covered something up with earth. That could be a possibility.
Just thought,
just like old mine shafts and stuff.
I was just about to say another speculation if they were some type of underground mine shafts.
Yeah, you don't know. But when you run a bore rod and you're hitting resistance for 2 feet, pretty hard resistance, and then you push even harder, and all of a sudden it gives into nothing, that kind of shows you something,
Right.
There'd be no reason for it to be doing that.
Next time you run that little camera down there, can you attach like a small little GoPro that has night vision on it?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
The only problem is the borehole we drilled is only like that, because I don't want to damage our floor. You know what I mean? So the hole is like only like that, to run, just big enough to run the camera down.
Okay, and it would
so
have
a GoPro isn't gonna fit.
Okay.
The camera he uses was attached to his phone, so it can still
it's like what the plumbers use when they run cameras.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I guess that's what Jill is probably also asking, trying to get an imaging like sonar done, might have caverns deep below.
Now that's a possibility too. We thought about that, but that costs money.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
And the more money it costs them, the more money it costs us.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. So unless you want to try
here's what's interesting: if we ever get a TV show doing it, maybe they can pick up the costs. I don't know. We'll see.
Anybody watch this, guys?
Check this out with Melissa.
Wait, what's she saying?
She's got a minty smell going on right now that only she can smell, and it's she's got a K2 dog going off right now.
Needs someone with some connections for it.
We all got connections that can actually help out with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got you covered, Jill.
Yeah. It just depends on which direction you want to go.
Right. But like I said, the place is interesting, and you guys need to definitely, you get a chance, check it out because I think you'd enjoy it. Like I said, Eileen's coming back. She's coming back real soon.
Dan, you've already got my
You're
attention.
gonna want to check out that hole.
Yeah, I think you got all of our attention for
Yeah.
this, so I definitely will add this to my list.
I will make sure I go on the Things Network Saturday. I'll get with you before we start and kind of do it. What time is check-in on Saturday?
On Saturday? Well, you guys are coming in on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be 3:00. You can check in.
So I'll call you before everything, Jeremy, and see if anybody's live, and I'll kind of do it.
We have that check-in time for a reason.
That's exactly why we leave Saturdays open for investigation.
Exactly, right.
For that.
Now, I have a lot of Fridays open right now. Most of my Saturdays, all the way through September, are booked. But I have a lot of Fridays, and we're offering every day of the week again for June and July. So,
hey, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was going to ask you about that. Because now that summer's coming up, school is out. That gives you and Connie a lot more time to do what you want to do.
That's why we've opened up, this month and next month. So,
Jeremy, this might be an idea, but our group investigations, like the one big investigation we do every year. You might have to add Old Park Hotel to that list.
I say do it.
Year or the following year. You never know.
Let's go ahead and add it to the list.
It's that place. It just kind of grows on you. It really does.
Like I said, that's one reason I wanted to have Dan on, is because there's so many hidden gems that unless you're in the area, you don't know about them.
Yeah.
Unless they go on television.
Exactly. And that's what it is. I mean, Eileen, you know about it. You guys just found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people out there haven't even really heard of the old park yet. I mean, a lot of people have, but what's going to happen, and this is kind of what I'm hinting, when all these shows come out, everybody's going to find out about the old park, and everybody's going to be rushing to see it. And that's why I'm saying our bookings are going to be, they're going to be out the door. It's going to be really hard to get because, like I say, we just do the weekends most of the months.
And it's already hard to get. So
yeah. And everybody wants a Saturday.
You might be able to start hiring people to be there during the week, during school season.
Yeah. I've even hinted to Connie that I might retire early from my regular job and go full time at the hotel. I don't know.
No, she's like, no, that's going to be me. You're going to go work.
So Jill asked, do you use, I mean, I know we talked about this earlier. I don't think she was watching earlier, but she wanted to know if you use ghost boxes, try to get some answers for what is down below, see what the spirits say about it.
I'll be honest with you, anytime we go down the murder questioning, we go down the hidden basement questioning, whatever's down there, any secrets, we start asking about secrets. You get some weird responses back. The spirits don't like. There's something really hidden in our building. There's different stories, and we feel like the spirits are just keeping this stuff concealed. It's almost like they don't want these stories out.
I was just about to say, it seems like, whatever the case is, these spirits that are at the hotel, it's almost like these spirits doesn't want you guys to find, and it makes you wonder what these spirits doesn't want you guys to find out.
Exactly.
And it could even partially be, because I've heard this on a lot of other locations, that it could be also very likely the reason why some of these spirits just can't leave that place because of that. There's just so much more that even in death, they're still trying to accomplish.
Exactly. The building harbors many different stories, and that could be why they're all still there. And like I say, there's a lot of tragic that's happened in that building. Some downright really tragic stuff. We just feel it. We don't like to hear about that, but we know the Old West brought a lot of stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's going to be more popping up. That's why every new paranormal group comes, they get something new that adds to the pot. And it seems to just grow the pot. You get a little bit more coming out each time to add to those stories and possibilities. And you'll see what it's like when you guys do come and you start your questioning You start going down these roads. You start trying to dig up stuff. I just remembered something. When I bought the building 6 years ago, I was still investigating it myself. I still am to this day, obviously. But the first 2 weeks, I remember I was like a kid in a carnival. You can imagine that feeling.
Yeah.
I was like, I got this building. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm going to see what I can find out.
Yeah.
Well, I ran
right.
I ran through the building one day with the recorder on nonstop, and I kept saying this sentence over and over and over as I walked throughout the whole building. I kept saying, "Is there any treasure here? Is there any hidden money? Is there anything, I don't know, secrets, something like that?" It's more like the treasure. And I said this over and over and over as I recorded throughout the whole building nonstop. When I went back to listen to my recorder for like 20, 25 minutes, nothing. And then all of a sudden, I don't even know what area of the building I was in because I wasn't really notating it on the recorder. All of a sudden, I asked the question again, and a man in the clearest Class A EVP voice comes back, and he laughs, and he says, "You'll never find it."
Oh, wow.
In those walls, I said.
So can you imagine getting an EVP like that in the
Yeah.
beginning?
I would say challenge accepted.
Yeah. The
Jill
thing
does.
is,
Oh,
the
sorry.
thing
Go ahead.
is, he said it. I don't know what that it is. You know, I don't know if that's treasure. I don't know if it's something else. It's just one of those things. It's always grabbed me.
Well, with all all the areas in the hotel, and now because you got 3 attics, so that tells me that there are 2 additions made from the original building.
Correct.
Have you found an area where there could be like a false wall, where there could be a hidden room somewhere that you haven't got?
There could be some false areas in the wall. There's one area that is actually in the presentation room. It's a little square that sits up above the couches. And I kind of want to push it up one day and stick my head through that opening. Because I imagine there's about 2 feet of space right there between the first floor and the second floor. No telling what might be up there.
That's where you run that camera.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, a treasure could be not necessarily money. A treasure to me could be old documents.
Yeah.
To me, that would probably be worth
questions.
more to me, in my research than anything else would.
I hope you're actually investigating with us because and Jeremy and Nick, y'all don't understand this. It's going to be me, Todd, Leanne, Shannon. I don't know if Beth's going to be able to make it, but
David.
Ray. So can you imagine? Me, Todd, and Leanne are all going to stay the night in location, at my sister's house the night before. Right. Then we're going to be together again at Old Park. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be exciting.
I got to find some jokes.
Run for your life, man.
Yeah, you better run for your life and don't look back.
Because I've been with them. Oh boy.
Yep. So have I.
But like I said, it's a very interesting building to us and to everybody that visits. So,
damn.
Now, where can they find the book, Old Park, and things like that?
You mean as far as social media and stuff?
Wherever you send them to.
Okay.
Book.
Well, we have several different places. We got our website, which is probably the most direct. You can just Google Old Park Hotel, Old with an E. I guarantee you're going to find it. You Google it. You can even Google Texas Most Haunted Places. It'll pop up. We have a lot of information on our website that's right there. Now, as far as social media, we got that covered as well. We have a Facebook page, the Haunted Old Park Hotel. We also have an Instagram page. We also have a Twitter, and we also have a TikTok. So we're covered on all the social media platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm putting more stuff on Instagram now than I probably was in the beginning, because we have a lot of people on there that follow us and keep track of things. And Like I said, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out. I keep hinting at this on my little secret little messages because a lot of it I just can't say, but we have a lot coming up. I mean, it's
Right.
a lot of
We're excited
crazy
to
things.
see that.
Yeah.
Now, I just got to I mean, this is why I left the comment of it. Jill, Eileen's going to be going out there, and we're actually going to do a live panel investigation. It's this Saturday or when?
No. I will go live and show around the building.
Oh, okay.
But I don't, me personally, guys, I don't do, first of all, it's a public event and I'm going to have to be leading a team. But I also don't do Facebook Live when I'm doing investigations because it does mess with equipment. So, and
Right.
I like to stay focused. And if I try to do live while investigating, then I get out of focus of what I'm trying to do. That's just me personally. So
And
Okay.
doing a public event, not the best time.
Yeah, it's true.
I will do a live walkthrough if I'm sure Dan's okay with it. I'll do it before everything starts.
You can do anything you want to do. So
That's why I said I'm sure you're okay.
Don't tell her that, Dan.
Yeah, don't. No, you just spoiled it now, Dan.
You're good. I know you're gonna let us do it.
Yeah, because you realize how wide a door you're opening up when you say that.
You know, the way I see it is it's going to be like Dan will reach out to me and Jerry like, I'm so sorry I said that. Hey, we tried to tell you.
Oh, I need you to leave me a few tacks, a fake snake. Can you bring that to the hotel so I can stick it in Todd's bed?
And
No,
also make sure you have yourself a Jack Skeleton cup with you as well.
Yeah, because she tried stealing mine.
No, I did steal yours. Jeremy just told you how to get it back.
That's because I couldn't keep a straight face once he realized it was missing. If I was able to keep a straight face, he'd have never found it, but I couldn't. Yeah.
that's
So
great.
anyway, well, with that, Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on this.
Oh
show.
yeah, this has been fun. I just realized how long we've been talking.
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to end 20 minutes ago, but luckily we didn't have a show that's on immediately after.
Right,
ours.
right.
So we
But
do have a little bit of leeway.
That
there.
shows you how much we talked about. You know, it didn't feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
this long.
Oh, I love this military crawl time to snag stuff.
That's about how Eileen did it.
Yeah.
She was crawling around like a panther, sneaking up on his prey.
Military style.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, you would have died laughing if you would have
Oh
saw
my
it.
God.
Yeah,
No,
right now, just real quick, we're waiting on the premiere of Deathwalker with Nick Groff. The premiere event is in August. That they're going to be announcing things, so everybody needs to get ready. Because, like I say, that's all coming.
Do you know which episode number you are?
Number 7.
Number 7, okay.
Lucky number 7.
And I have to get on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Real quick, what other television shows or has there been any others that have been filmed on location yet? Like a sneak peek, even if it was like you said, Fright Night, 5 seconds long sneak peek, whatever. What else can they look at?
Well, Fright Club is on Discovery Plus. If anybody wants to catch that old episode, I'm also got my Paranormal 911 episode on there. The new stuff hasn't hit platforms yet, so there's really not anything out that anybody can see yet.
Okay.
Like I said, the next 6 months to 12 months, there'll be a lot of stuff rolling out. So people are going to see, and we'll announce at different points. So,
and he's really good about updating.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has stuff on, I mean, I don't do Instagram too much. I will have to follow you, but
yeah.
I do know Facebook. I catch a
We
lot.
We have done a news show. I can't say what, but we've already done the releases. We're just waiting to film. So it's just a matter of time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next week, I don't think we have a guest. Eileen?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so it'll just be the four of us again, just shooting the shit.
We might have Connie next time because she's the pretty one.
Dan,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so intrigued from what you've been telling us. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I definitely would like to have Dan back on at some point.
Oh yeah, I love.
Oh, without question.
I'll talk
question.
you guys to death sometimes. You know, I got so many
what
stories.
you say is interesting. There's some people who talk you to death, and you're like, but
there's always, especially with this place, there's always something new that pops up.
So there you go. He can tell us what happened last week.
Yeah. We'll have to tell him. Yeah, we'll have to have him again soon. But yeah, even Jill agrees. Wants Dan back again.
Dan, you just tell us and we'll get it booked.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have you back on the show, and we'll even talk to you about getting you on 13th Dimension, which is on Friday nights.
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, because I also co-host with Jeremy on it, so I'm back on too.
Just chime me. I have a lot of time this summer. When we get back to our regular jobs, my schedule gets crazy. You can imagine teaching high school kids all day, how tired we are in the evening.
I live with them.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, you live with them.
Yeah. Okay. And
Connie has to be on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get her on next time. So.
She was on a couple times today. She did.
Yeah.
It's so bad, and I'm glad I'm not the only one. When someone's talking about Dan, a lot of times they'll go, Donnie. No, I mean Dan, because it's Connie and Dan, so it's like Donnie.
Right. Like a mix of the two.
Oh my God, Jill just read my mind here. Okay, I got to bring this up quickly. So, Dan, I also do a third show here on this network. This one I just do that's, independent, just an independent show. And I do a show that originally was called Paranormal and Historic Locations and Legends. Okay. But now it's called, as you can see with the green screen, it's called the Nick Files now.
Yeah.
So Jill Jill just read my mind, and she wants me to do a presentation on the Old Park Hotel, which I was going to tell you right before she said it. So I'm going to have to make a slideshow on that place.
Yeah. I say do it. Yeah.
In fact, before I even do it, I'll run it through you first to make sure I'm telling it correctly.
Well, you can if you just hit our Facebook page, I put a lot of stuff there, so you can read there. You can read stuff online. You'd be amazed what you'll find.
Yeah,
we have a lot of stuff out on it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it looks like I'm going to have to. It's going to take a little while because these slideshows do take a while, but I will get that. I will have that created. That will become a reality, Jill.
And plus, it's got. I don't know how many things he's already got lined up.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've created probably well over 20 slideshows, and I'll tell you, as great as they are, they're not easy putting together because I'm going through different sites, looking for this stuff and, figure out, what sounds really interesting if they're saying it in a creepy or paranormal way. And it's probably going to be it's going to be, I already know for a fact it's going to be the same for the Old Park Hotel. So,
and you're not even halfway through the ones that you'd already had prepared because several of them you've had to do 2 episodes or even a third on one of them.
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing too with these slideshows. I mean, some of them are so long that I've had to split them into 2 parts or even 3. But there were some occasions where I went over where a show was going, so we had to put my show to 4:30 here instead of 5 o'clock what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jill, I'm with you on that. Nick Files, I want to learn more about it too.
And who knows, maybe even by the time you get to doing the hotel on your show, they will have already figured out what is in that hole.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there's just going to be a lot more things popping up as we go along.
Okay.
For sure.
Awesome. And tomorrow night on 13th Dimension, we got Clarissa Haler. Part of things. She's on the show tomorrow night. She's also unveiled Paranormal, her own show that comes on before us, but she's not doing the show because she doesn't want to do 3 hours of talking. And then next week, Nick, on your show, what are you covering?
I'm going to be covering. See, Dan, if you didn't know, I was doing pretty much all you guys know, I was doing the Stanley Hotel, which I just finished up. Next week, I guess you can kind of say it's not a part 3, but it's still in association with The Shining. Hang on one second. I have the list. Yeah, I have the list right here. It was the
Timberline Hotel. I can't wait to see that one.
Timberline Lodge, which was one of the filming locations where The Shining was shot, and I decided to make a presentation on that, along with another hotel, which will be the following week or so, that was also shot in association with The Shining. So 2 more places involving that movie.
Nice.
Okay, this one's a new one. I don't know about
that one
hotel.
Like the outs. Okay, so long story short, like in the movie, like when you saw the outside of the building, you could clearly see it was Timberline Lodge in the original movie. The indoors that was not actually what it looked like inside. That was shot in a different hotel, which was called the. I got the list right here. It is called.
Oh, I thought that was all built on a soundstage.
Well, some of it was, but there were other parts where it wasn't, and that place was called the. I got it right here. Oh, the Albany Hotel, which is in Yosemite National Park in California, and then Timberline Lodge is out in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Didn't know.
I didn't know either, and I didn't even know Timberline was also said to be haunted. Believe it or not.
No, but it's crazy expensive. I checked it out.
Yeah. Oh my God, the prices are insane.
$600 for one night for a standard room.
Yeah, even more expensive than the Stanley Hotel.
Yeah.
Twice as much.
Yeah.
What the hell, Melissa? You hide me in one of your containers so I could secretly see what? And Jill said, I don't even want
all the little stuff down there.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I don't think I even want to know. But
I know what she's talking about.
Jill, you make a good point. For Old Park Hotel, she's saying it's going to be a 2-parter for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dan, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah. Been a great talk.
Yeah, hearing the stories of the hotel and that has really learned a lot. Really learned a lot. And everybody out there in the audience that are still with us, thank you for playing along.
I know Jill is.
Yep. Okay, so anybody have any last words before we sign off?
Not that I can think of.
Old Park.
Okay,
Eileen is excited.
All right, first my screen fell. I guess that's kind of a warning after when Eileen said that.
Yep, that means the show is over for Nick.
Dan, my only advice is when she and the others show up, run.
Yeah.
I think if you put up with me and Stormy, I think he can deal with me and Todd and Leanne.
Be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody out there in the audience, and we will see you all next week.
All right. See you later.
Good night.